We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cập nhật thiết chúng sanh, tịnh chiến diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, thức chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Nan Tô Su Che Do Ye Ở Lại Hồi Đi Sa Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tát Đắc Tha Tu Ya Đa Ya La Ha Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Tòa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou qi Yen Jie Ru Lai Zhe Shi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Jing Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns and all good advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大师、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Tên Lương Quốc sư, Hòa thượng Tương Hoa, quý thầy cô, quý trí thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is 19th of August 2022. We gathered here to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra prepared by Great Master Jing Liang. We are discussing the door number 2. On slide 95, this door is about the store and the teachings containing it. So it's an overview of how we should classify the teachings contained here. And as per the scholars who classified all these Buddhist teachings, okay. Tiantai School, Xianshou School, and so forth. First and foremost, we have a question from Jewel Kong. Go ahead, Jewel Kong.
네, 한국어 유튜브에 올라온 정이연님 질문입니다. 언제 어느 장소에서 데뷔주를 외워도 괜찮은가요? 사람들과 대화할 때 저도 모르게 생각으로 데뷔주를 외우고 있을 때가 있습니다. 속으로 데뷔주를 외우면서 대화를 해도 괜찮나요?
Is it okay to recite the Great Compassion Mantra whenever and wherever? Sometimes I found myself, when I talked with people, I recite the Great Compassion Mantra silently. Is it okay?
Sometimes I recite the Great Compassion Mantra, the last sentence.
When I talk with people, I recite Great Compassion Mantra silently.
You can talk and recite the Great Compassion Mantra at the same time?
Yes.
Wow, I'd like to learn how to do that. Impressive. Anyone else can do that? Yeah, I'd like to know. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. Kudos to you. I'm impressed. Who is this person again? Is Korean or American? Thank you. Yeah, that's impressive. Now, if you can recite the mantra and talk to people,
That's impressive.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Because you're doing two things at once.
Yeah, two things at once. That's not easy thing to do. That requires a lot of training. Actually, I heard of great master Yin Guang, what's his name? Yin Guang, yeah, Yin Guang, the great Chinese monk who later turned out to be the Pure Land Patriarch and also a transformation body of great strength Bodhisattva. Yin Guang, great master Yin Guang was practicing in seclusion. So he used to transcribe the Tripitaka.
No, like this.
Yeah, he was transcribing. Yeah, how do you hold it? That
毛笔是吧?
yeah,
Oh, you hold
Mao
like
Bi.
this.
Yeah, your Mao Bi.
You hold it like that. You hold like that.
Okay,
yeah,
hold like that. Okay, and you're supposed to hold it like that, and you transcribe the Buddhist teachings, all the Buddhist teaching. It was pretty impressive because back then there's no print press, and therefore for people to be able to read sutras and Buddhist teachings, they need to be transcribed. And so he was doing that. He was transcribing the Buddhist sutras, or he was reading the Tripitaka, the Buddhist store. And after a while, he got to the point where he would meet people who would come to visit him and ask for instructions and so forth, because he wouldn't waste time socializing with people. So people would come and ask him for instruction and ask for help. He would talk to them and then recite the Buddha's name. So while he was transcribing the Buddhist sutras and talking to people all day, he was able to recite the Buddha's name 100,000 times a day, every single day without fail. So that's how he practiced all day. Okay, so but reciting Buddha's name is not as difficult as reciting the Great Compassion Mantra. So who is this person again? Vietnamese or Korean? Clearly it's not American.
Her name is Chong I-hyun. It's question from YouTube.
Is YouTube person?
Yes.
For real? Can we do a scammer check on this person? I never heard of anyone who can recite the Great Compassion Mantra. I heard that, for example, our Xian Shun, the crazy nun down south, she was able to, when she was still a lay woman, she was telling me she used to drive to work, and then on the way back there's traffic, so it's very hot. And this crazy woman was driving and reciting the Great Compassion Mantra at the same time. And she said, it's too hot, and I didn't know what to do. There's no air conditioner. Yeah. Husband, very cheap. And so she focused on reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, and she said she didn't remember anything. By the time she got home, that's all she could remember. The whole time is reciting the Great Compassion Mantra. Didn't even remember how she drove, how she got home. And lo and behold, when she got home, she said, hey, I'm home. Now I have to go in and cook. So It's fascinating. So the point, I was impressed. That's why I allow her to lead the home life. But the point here is that these people are unusual. Either they're crazy or there's something wrong with them. But it is possible, by the way. It is very, very possible. And this YouTuber, I would like to follow this YouTuber. Would be so cool. This person is not. I hope that this person is for real, because if it's a real person, I'd like to meet that person someday. Lunch is on me. Okay, we're going to talk about how this person does it. Oh, what's this? New stuff? Okay, so yes, it's possible to do that, and it's a good idea. If you can recite and talk to people at the same time, so much better for you. And you can recite it anywhere, anytime. So the question unfortunately, we can't ask this person is this person moving the lips when reciting the Great Compassion Mantra and so forth. There's so many details I like to find out. Okay, it's so cool. But you see, it's possible, and I believe this person. But it's not a typical person. Let me put it that way for you. All right, any other questions? All right, we are on slide 95, text. This may be the stringing together and attracting of both what is spoken and those taught.
此或贯摄通所说所话。
Okay, he's talking about the sutra belongs in Buddhist teaching, the three classifications, the Vinaya, the Sutra store, and the Shastra store. Okay, Vinaya is the code of morality and the basis of goodness. If you understand Vinaya, you understand goodness. Okay, and it's really, really insightful. So what I like about Vinaya learning is that it's very intellectual. I love the teaching. It is so fascinating to see why the Buddha defined these rules, okay, and define that will help us distinguish black and white, right from wrong, okay, and exceptions and so forth. It's really fascinating because it shows our weaknesses, why the rules for women are different from rules for men, and so forth. And so they're designed to help us spot our weaknesses and what to focus on to protect yourself. Does it make sense? Unless you know your weaknesses, how do you know where to protect? How do you know where you're most vulnerable? Okay, so the Vinayas are very fascinating, and then so I find it very, very stimulating. I say, oh wow, I didn't realize I have these types of weaknesses, and women have so many weaknesses compared to men. Never mind. So it's so cool to me. And then the second classification, Sutra store. Sutra, this is the store that he's referring to here. He discussed the Vinaya store already. Now the second store, which is Sutra store, which is a basket of all the sermons of the Buddha, all his teachings. And they designed to help us build concentration. You study sutras, you will understand how to practice meditation and how to build up your concentration power. Okay, what is concentration power for you normal people? Concentration power, think of it as mental strength. Okay, so mental power, and this is where the Buddhists harness the power of their own potential, of their own abilities, And with this power they're able to harness, the obvious benefits to most of us is increase stamina, increase health, increase productivities, and so forth. It's incredible what we're capable of doing. It's fascinating. So with this increase, with this samadhi or concentration power, we're able to do feats that are virtually impossible. Okay? Superhuman, if you will. To imagine, for example, you write, this is true, it happened to a thesis candidate at Berkeley. He sat down to begin to write his math thesis paper, and he was going, and then when he finished writing the paper, 17 hours were passed. Didn't even sleep, non-stop. It's fascinating. We're all capable of doing this, not just for us, but for short people, girls, boys, you name it. Anyone can do it. Yes, Way Mountain.
I have a quick question. What are pure conducts?
Pure conduct?
Yes.
Pure conduct, okay. In what context are you asking about pure conduct? Where did you see that concept?
One was asking a little earlier about it, so I just got curious about that and what they mean.
Someone asking earlier about pure conduct?
No, I was mentioning about pure conducts.
In what context? You remember?
Not really, no.
So you don't know what you're asking about? So how am I supposed to answer you? You don't know what you're asking about. But in general, pure conduct refers to the conduct of purity. What is the conduct of purity? For us worldly people, conduct of purity, little girl, is take showers. Have you taken a shower today? No? How about doing dishes? Okay, never mind. Excuse me. Okay. So it doesn't matter. So pure conduct here refers you keep something pure. But conduct here is personal conduct. So this is the kinds of things that you do so that you keep yourself pure, your body pure, and more importantly, your mind pure. Okay? In fact, if you do these things, then your body is pure, meaning, for example, even when you perspire, there's no body odor. Like even there's a fragrance. If actually you're so pure, like my late Chinese teacher, Master YongHua, he doesn't wear perfume, but it is said that when you draw near him, every now and then you catch him, and his body has this fragrance. And as a monk, he typically does not take a shower only once every fortnight, 14 days or so. So we Buddhist monks are supposed to take a shower twice a month. That's it. And there's always exception, like when you have to work, when it's too hot, when you really need to, and so forth. Otherwise, you drive all the non-Buddhist disciples away. So Master YongHua didn't take a shower at all, but he has this fragrance. His body's fragrant. It's so fragrant. So that's what happens when you pure. When you have a pure conduct, your body can emit this rare fragrance. It's very, very fascinating. And of course, he knew that, so therefore he could prevent that from happening. So you cannot tell when you go near him. Okay, but every now and then, he would allow people to have a sniff of his fragrance. So the pure conduct refers to the conduct that keeps your body pure, and in particular, your mind pure. Your mind pure of all impure thoughts. Thoughts are not appropriate for such people, for good people. Okay, so those are the general explanations without having to go into the Buddhist details. All right, anyone else? Okay, so this is Suture Store. It's a store that is a collection of all the Buddha's insights and instructions on how to develop concentration power. Meaning that as a result, the Buddhist meditation practices are by far the most advanced because they are derivatives of such Buddhist teachings. So the Chan instructions, the meditation instructions in Buddhism are actually the Buddhist instructions reinterpreted in layman's terms. And therefore, the great meditation teachers are the ones who really understand the sutras, if you will. All right. And the third basket, again, is the Shastra, which are commentaries made by the Buddha disciples. They're necessary in order to help us understand the Buddha's sermons. Because basically, Buddha's sermons is for a broad spectrum of people, from low level to high level. Okay? The Buddhist teaching is very, very profound, very abstract, if you will. So the Buddha's disciples then, the Bodhisattvas who come to our world and systematize the Buddhist teaching. So they created schools like Consciousness Only School, Tian Tai School, Xianshou School, Vinaya School, and these small schools and so forth, in order to help people have a better appreciation of Buddhist teachings and better penetrate the teaching and help them become enlightened. Okay, so those are the three stores. Again, Vinaya stores, excuse me, that's a store of purity, pure conduct, rules and regulations that will set you apart. Okay. Number two, Suture store, that's to build your concentration. Number three, Shastra store is in order to help you develop your wisdom, unfold your wisdom. Okay, so those are the three stores. A Vinaya store or morality store, that's your foundation, your makeup. This is who we really are. If we need to express who, our purity, our superior nature, our superior substance, you can manifest, you can explain that in terms of Vinaya. If you're pure, you're superior, you're like a Vajra, and this is the nature of that. You don't steal, you don't kill, and so forth. Okay? It translates into actions. Isn't it interesting? This is the Buddhist insights. If you're truly pure, you're truly superior, then normal people cannot tell. It's not meant for you to tell. Only people who know like us would recognize each other, but you cannot tell. But you can observe us through our actions. Okay? Superior people don't steal from others. They don't lie. Yeah? They don't try to kill, okay, and impose a will on others and so forth. Okay? So those are the actions, if you will, of superior people. Conversely speaking, vice versa, if you're not quite perfect yet, you still are a work in progress, like most of us are, okay? Then we're able to do some of these guidelines, but not all of them. That's why we call work in progress, okay? And therefore, you know where you need to focus on, concentrate on, to return, to purify your nature, to return and make yourself 100% superior, okay? So that's the ingenious nature of the Vinaya, you will. And unfortunately, and I spent time talking about this because unfortunately, nowadays, the monks and nuns don't pay attention to that anymore because it doesn't pay. Okay? That's why the Vinaya is so misunderstood, and we're losing the understanding of that because if we professionals don't study them, who will? Okay? And in fact, for us to be able to teach you and guide you, it's based on that Vinaya. So that's why it's so critical for the monks and nuns in the future to really study it. Okay? That's essential. And that's why I encourage you to do, because I don't think my master encouraged his disciples. My Shishyo encouraged my generation to do that. I'm encouraging you, third generation, to be better than that. And in the future, when we have more manpower, I will be willing to invest time and money to send you to Taiwan. Let's hope it's still Taiwan. And study Vinaya and bring it back here where it's safe and be secure. Okay? Because it's a treasure for humanity. Trust me. That those insights are incredible, so insightful, so beautiful. And so you need to have that the foundation of us, who we really are, our nature, our makeup can be seen, can be observed through our actions. So we don't have to say anything. So true, the people who are pure, they don't even say, "Hey, I'm pure. I'm purer than you." You pure through your actions. You don't have to sell yourself. Okay? So that's the Vinaya or morality or precepts, you will. And then samadhi power through sutras can also be observed by the ability to concentrate and the power. Okay? The violence, I like to put it. Violent men and women fascinate me. Because I met, a Chinese patriarch, sixth patriarch, who is the most violent man I've ever met. It's so fascinating. Okay? I love it. Okay? And number 3 is Shastra, where you see how superior the Buddhists are when they solve problems. Okay? So if you're looking for ingenuity, you want to think outside of the box, anyone? Here, you engineers need to do that, don't you? Okay? You're getting paid all the big money, and you have to produce. You have to think outside the box, yes? And so the Buddhists sharpen those instincts, develop those instincts by learning to solve problems in their spiritual practice. Okay? So those are the 3 fascinating aspects of the 3 major studies in Buddhism. Questions or comments? Unfortunately, you study from a Chinese, they won't explain it to you that way. They said, "This is better. Just learn." And I found it when I heard about that, I first learned about it, I found it so ridiculous. Because we're supposed to believe you? People with no hair, dressing funny, and so forth. So anyway, it's not just reserved for monks and nuns. I feel that in general, if lay people want to open the wisdom and be superior people, that's it. Okay, these insights here are the real treasure of humanity. And that's why we talk about these, we discuss this, we record this, and we encourage people to study more, because that's how we can help society make it better by bettering ourselves first. Okay. All right, so we are 96. The text says the sutra is a Sanskrit that means stringing together, attracting of both what is spoken and those taught. So stringing together of the principles that you need to know. Okay, in mathematics, it's called theorems. Okay, they apply to a full range. So the principles of the universe. Okay, famous principles, cause and effect. Nothing is beyond cause and effect. Look at that. Okay, can you think of a principle that is true throughout the universe? Huh? Gravity will change, based on your location. You get higher up there, gravity becomes non-existent. Yes? It's true down here, but not true up there, in the skies, in the space. Whereas cause and effect is true everywhere, anywhere, and anytime. Okay? Look at compare the geniuses of the insights. So that's why these principles, the Buddhist principles, are strung together to help us build this vast knowledge and wisdom of the Buddhas. Okay, so they string it together, and then so to the fashion of like a Netflix series. What's coming up tomorrow? Monday, August 21st. Anyone knows what's coming August 21st? Daniel. I can't believe it. You guys are so ignorant. Ignoramusis. Huh? What's coming on August 21st? Anyone? No, honey, not Korea. That's later, much later. Huh? What's August 21st? Come on. Oh, don't embarrass me. You're supposed to be good, no advisors. No, that's later. You mean people with wisdom. What's happening on August 21st? Come on. $5. Someone gives me the right answer. No one? What? I cannot believe it. The prequel of Game of Thrones, House of Dragons. Am I the only one who knows about these, follow these things? August 21st, honey. Yeah. I mean, it's marked on my calendar, August 21st. Tune in. You don't have HBO? Oh, talk to your husband. Okay. So how do you get to House of Dragons again? Huh? August 21st? Anyway, something important, I'm pretty sure. So the stringing together of these principles, they are very important. These are the superior insights for us. So with those types of insights, it helps you look at things differently, by the way. Okay, you're no longer bound by your own mind. So the sutras will unleash your creativity and break down the barriers you set in your own mind. Okay, and so these principles are strung together and attracting the sutras. They're designed to draw the listeners into these principles. So, for example, for the people who are more intellectually inclined, meaning the people who are more interested in the logic and the reasoning, the Buddha started by teaching Hinayana, okay, the Agama store, meaning when he first started teaching humans, he taught about the Agama store, meaning that Agama is Sanskrit for the Wubi, the incomparable knowledge. Okay, why is it incomparable? Because compared to worldly knowledge, okay, this is far better. That is something that worldly knowledge will never be able to compare with. Why is it the case? Anyone? I'm being serious now. I'm no longer joking. Doesn't it show? I look the same, huh? Oh, God. It's terrible. Worldly knowledge. You can learn and build bridges and make a lot of money and con people and so forth, okay? And become famous and so forth. But it's something that worldly knowledge cannot do. Huh? Can travel to Mars, it can make babies and whatever, but it's something it cannot do. Worldly knowledge, worldly wisdom cannot achieve. What is it? Anyone knows? Yes, sir. What is? Give him a microphone.
Bring you peace.
Orange, yes.
Bring peace.
Bring peace? It's very easy. Kill everyone. Okay, anyone else? You want peace? Get rid of humanity. Yes, orange.
Escape suffering.
Escape suffering. Yes, it's pretty good, but not quite. You two Buddhists, I don't like this. Can we talk like normal people? Way Mountain.
Probably go to heaven or the Pure Land.
Go, the people, worldly people cannot go to the heavens or the Pure Land. They can go to the heavens, but they cannot go to the Pure Land. Okay, not yet, but eventually they will be able to. You too.
Addison Brazil said worldly knowledge cannot end the cycle of birth and death.
Cannot end the cycle of birth and death, that's correct. Worldly knowledge cannot destroy your ego. Worldly knowledge actually strengthens your ego. The better, the more, the more proficient you are at creating, producing worldly knowledge, the bigger your ego becomes. It doesn't matter if you follow and research and concentrate on developing worldly knowledge. At the same time, what happens? Your ego also gets stronger and gets bigger. There's no way for you to reduce it. No way. And that's the difference. The Agama store, when the Buddha first taught, is incomparable because it's nothing compared to it in terms of defeating the ego and liberating you from the fetters and the shackles that the ego puts on you. All of us. Bar none. Whether you're president, whether you are a lowly person, they all are subject to the ego. Subjects of the ego. Even the kings are subject of the egos. Emperors are subject of the egos. God is subject of his ego. Okay? Until you figure out a way to defeat it and destroy that ego. And that's in the Agama store. Okay? And so if you think about it, you're not interested, even if you're not interested in Buddhism, and you say, oh, that's a lot of it's too much, too far-fetched. Give me something I can understand, something that I can put my arms around. And that's Agama store, by the way, because it's very intellectual. It appeals to your logic, appeals to your intellect. Okay, it's very clever. So when you do that, you study and you keep these Agama stories, these Agama sutras, you find that they are fun. They are stories, they are anecdotes, they are analogies and so forth that you can relate with. It makes sense. You know, and Danyang, for example, I would do that. I would, as you sweep in the yard here, and you would listen and play these Agama store in English, because I'm not sure they're available in Espanol. Not sure, but you listen to it and say, "Oh, it makes sense." And these insights are incredible, and they are logical to you. They appeal to your logic, to your intellect, and that's called the Agama store. Okay, and so he did that, and then beyond that, once you reach when you study the Agama store, you will be able to put an end to your ego. And then he said, "Okay, now you're here. Let me tell you, there's much more interesting things, much bigger things for you in store." Okay, so that's what happens. So these principles are what he taught. Okay, in order to teach specific target audience. So Buddhists are very smart, by the way. Buddhist teaching very smart. Look at you and say, "Oh, you need to be prepared properly." So it's step by step. So they actually segment out the audiences. So for people who are intellectual, who are smart, I would recommend the Agama store, because it's very interesting. And they have funny stories you can tell your friends and your wife and your girlfriends and your boyfriends and so forth. It's appealing, it's fun, you can talk about it. And everyone can identify with it. In contrast, the highest level is what we are studying, the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is for the Bodhisattvas. Okay? And they're much more difficult to explain. So that's why when I explain this, the challenges are how do I keep the high-level people interested at the same time as newcomers like you? Okay, so that it's very challenging, and to keep it interesting for different levels. Whereas the Agama store, it's fairly simple. You target a very specific segment. Whereas a higher level of teaching, you have to appeal to the whole spectrum. Okay, so Master Hsuan did that. Typically, let me tell you, the Buddhist monks rarely lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra because of the high range, and therefore you talk too much. Only the advanced people would become interested, whereas the low level would just fall off. Okay, so it's very, very challenging. And Master Hsuan brought it, and he kept it interesting for all of us. Okay, so the sutra are spoken to match these things he's teaching here, the principles you need to know, to specific audience, target audiences. Okay, that's the nature of sutras. Okay, to help them, break them from their own bonds of their own mediocrity, self-imposed mediocrity. Okay? 97. Or it may be stringing together and threading through the Dharma Marks and attracting and holding those taught.
或贯穿法相，摄持所化。
All right. So, commentary on slide 98. Or maybe string together and threading through the Dharma Marks. Dharma Marks. Dharma Marks, Dharma refers to the Buddha Dharma. Okay? Dharma marks refers to anything that is observable through your sense organs. Okay? Meaning that anything you can hear, you can smell, you can feel, you can look at, and so forth. So all those 6 sense organs, the eyes, ears, nose, tongues, and so forth, taste, and so forth. So all those are the marks. Okay, if you can perceive through your sense organs, this is Mahayana concept. So that's what differentiates Mahayana, big vehicle, from small vehicle. The great vehicle is that we talk about, you hear these monks talk, and you can tell whether they're Hinayana or Mahayana. Mahayana, we talk about these jargon, like a mark, okay? And don't be put off by that. Mark is just something observable. Everything in life is observable. Think about it. Color, shape, smell, taste, the feel, and so forth. Those are marks, observable. And that's very important. Why is it an important concept? Because that's how we perceive the outside world. That's what we see, that's what we register. Okay? Yeah. And because of these external things, the Dharma marks, the outside world, they create an impression on us. And that's why we're not careful, we will be overwhelmed or confused or misled. But if we recognize those Dharma marks, then we're able to break through the confusion. That's the difference between the geniuses and the followers. Geniuses can see what the problem really is. People with wisdom can do that. Whereas the people who are not careful, like ordinary people, they're confused by marks. For example, we men are easily confused by sweet words. So women whisper in our ears. Daniel seconds it. See what I mean? Okay. So we're confused by the marks, by the sweet words, the sound, and so forth. Poor men. Okay? So we study these things and say, so we recognize how we are confused. What confuses us that causes problems for us? Unless you know that, you cannot defend yourself. You cannot have an antidote to it. Correct? So that's why you learn the Dharma marks, meaning that the superior aspects of the teaching, the Buddhist insights, if you will. Buddha Dharma are, to brag a little bit, are the incredible insights that the Buddha shared with us freely. Okay, and they're called, those things that he described, okay, are called Dharma marks. Does it help? These are important concepts. Mark. So the Hinayana people, they talk about good and bad and so forth, but they don't talk about these Dharma marks. And that's why, if you don't understand and you don't recognize what confuses you, you are easily confused. You can't get out. Go ahead, YouTube.
From Bhante Verapanyo, Master, what is the ideal way to prepare for an intensive meditation retreat of 10 hours a day for 1 week?
It depends on your purpose. For us, when we do a intensive meditation retreat, for example, we have this recipe. We understand what we need to do, our people need to do in order to get there. What are we trying to get at? For meditation, when we teach our people meditation in Mahayana, we try to help them become enlightened. There's no other goal. One goal is to become enlightened. Okay? So in order to become enlightened, there are certain requirements that are taught, by the way, in the Mahayana Sutras. It's ingenious, and I'm not going to tell you because it's too vast for you. Okay, and because I tell you, then these people, most of you would say, "Oh, I know what it takes to become enlightened." No, you need to do that, and that's it. The knowledge is not meant for you to talk. Knowledge for you to do. Remember, if the knowledge, the superior knowledge you acquired for yourself is that when you understand that, that's when you do. You don't talk about it anymore. You don't try to sell and try to convince people anymore. You simply, quietly benefit them. Help them. All right? So if you do an intensive meditation like that, there are some, unfortunately, let me tell you from my experience had been, because we've been doing meditation retreats for a long time, 15 years or more. Personally, 25 years, close to 25 years for me, for my own personal practice, and guiding people for 15 years. There's some problems. Let me be blunt with you. Number one, you need to be clear about the goals. Okay. Number two, you need to have the ability, since you're organizing a meditation retreat. Do you know that during the meditation retreat, some people who work hard will develop obstructions or problems, and you must be able to help them get through. Otherwise, they would be wasting their time. Number three, which requires you to know and recognize those Dharma marks or the obstructions, the nature of the obstructions. For example, I remember when I first started, we would learn to sit in full lotus as part of our Mahayana meditation practices. And you sit there and day after day, and after like a few weeks of doing that, 14 hours a day, okay, you know what happens? Can I share you this thing? I'm not sure that I should share it with you, because the Chinese don't talk about it. After you do that for about 4 or 5 weeks, or for a while, at least for me, and you sit there all day and you do nothing all day, okay? You just sit there and you do nothing, which is one of the most difficult things to do. It's much easier to think, you have a drink or eat something or talk or watch videos and TV and so forth, right? Much easier to focus on concentration. It's very difficult for us to sit there and really do nothing, okay? And it's very, very challenging. But not only that, after you sit there and survive for 14 hours a day in meditation like that every day and doing nothing, after 4 or 5 weeks, something happens. It turns out, after 4 or 5 weeks, because you sit on your butt, is that okay to talk about sitting on your butt? Okay, thank you, Xiao Tai. You develop calluses. This has happened to me. What is a callus? It's like, it's in the shape of like how can I describe that? Like a thumbstack. Can you imagine? You sit down, it's like you sit on a thumbstack. So the skin, because you sit on your butt all day, it develops a hardening. It hardens in the shape of the tip of a thumbstack. Your own skin. Anyone experience that? Okay. It hurts like hell. Excuse me, Xiao Tai. You guys make my job so difficult. Okay? So imagine, Tai, you sit, meditate, and you sit on a thumbstack. Only one. Never mind about 2, just one. And so, so what happened is that when it happened to me, and I started leaning on one side more than the other, right? I mean, we're tough. We Mahayana practitioners are tough. We're not going to quit because of the thumbstack. Are you kidding me? I'd rather die. Okay, so you sit more on this side. And guess what happened a little bit later? It grows on the other side. What do you do? It's never on one side, by the way. It's always two, eventually. So what do you do? What do you do? Huh? Then you fail, my friend. This guy's smart. So he said, I'm not going to sit on my butt anymore. I sit on my legs. How clever. But guess what? Because you're supposed not to move, my friend. What kind of who's your meditation teacher? I like to talk to this guy. You. Oh, me? Okay, so you're not supposed to move. So you can't cheat. So what do? You continue to sit, let me tell you, keep on sitting until it naturally goes away, disappears. If you did anything, that means that up to 4 weeks, you're okay. On the 5th week, you say, okay, I better stop. So that's what happens to you. You go to the 5th week, you stop. Go to the 5th week, you stop. So you stop every single time. You cannot break through. Okay? So that's why, unless you know the process, okay, you cannot guide people. I'm only telling you one example. There's like about 10,000 different issues you're going to have if you practice seriously. Okay, so there's just a lot of things going on. So what I recommend is that it's a great thing if you encourage people to come to your meditation retreat, Bhante, then it's great. But be careful. You need to be reasonable in your expectations, my recommendation, meaning that if there have issues that you cannot solve, then you have to know your limitations and tell them that they need you all need more guidance in the future, okay, and turn it more into not as intensive, if you will, so that they're not wasting their time. Okay, but I would in general, I would if I were to organize a meditation retreat, I would like to have on my Rolodex someone I could call and say, I have this problem, what do I do? My people have this problem, what do I do? Okay? Instead of trying to pretend or because that's destructive. The idea of a meditation retreat is wonderful. If you can get people to come to your retreat, that's wonderful. But be upfront, be honest about it so that they're not misled and it would defeat the purpose of meditation. Okay? All right, I hope it helps. Need some Rolodex and need to consult with people. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you learn. Including my students. When I send my students out to teach meditation, I know they can handle the problems of the students up to a certain point. And then we're very upfront. We tell them, if you have problems I don't understand, you have problems I don't know, I have someone I can go back and check, okay, and ask. That's how we all learn. And if I cannot solve the problems, I would tell you, I don't know. Good luck. Wei Mount, question, go ahead.
Hello. Apple has a question. It says, if you were to die tomorrow, do you recommend doing repentance or Amitabha Buddha's name for Pure Land cultivation? Is there a preference?
For what? I missed the first sentence.
If you were to die tomorrow, do you recommend doing repentance?
Tomorrow?
Die tomorrow.
Oh, if you died tomorrow.
You will die tomorrow. Do
Why
you
never talk
recommend
about
doing
death right now? Can we wait till tomorrow? Okay, sorry. I'm in a good mood today. I don't feel like talking about depressive things, especially with children here. It's okay? Oh, thank you. Okay, let's talk about depressing things. Continue, please. If you die tomorrow.
If you were to die tomorrow, do you recommend doing repentance or Amitabha Buddha's name for Pure Land cultivation? Is there a preference?
Is she asking for herself or for someone else?
Since he says, if I were, I believe she's saying for herself, but I'm not sure.
And why are you asking for her, by the way? You are not even Buddhist. We cannot reveal all our Buddhist secrets to non-Buddhists, you know. So anyway, seriously, if you die tomorrow, what would you do? You should repent, you should go to the Pure Land, recite Buddha's name, recite mantras, whatever. Whatever. It won't make any difference. You repent, you still die. You recite Buddha's name, you still die. You meditate, you still die. What difference does it make? For her in particular, okay, I wouldn't worry about it. I would go have a party tonight. Why? Why is that? To say goodbye to the friends and people you care for. So they're not as sad tomorrow when I die. Number one, don't you care? You're Buddhist, you're supposed to care. Number two, even if you say, but I'm a cultivator, I want to be ready for tomorrow when I die. And I say, you can't help yourself. You should know your limitations. A woman must know her limitations. Some famous actor said that, right? A man has got to know his limitations. Who is that? Oh, you guys are so boring. You don't know anything. You have no culture whatsoever. Is it Star Wars or what? No, never mind. So it doesn't matter, you know. Even if Apple, assuming it's Apple, his girlfriend, is supposed to die tomorrow, and she says, "What should I do? Should I recite Buddha's name? Should I, do the 4 two hands and eyes? Or should I meditate? Should I repent and so forth?" It makes no difference. Okay? If you die tomorrow, in her case, her best bet is to try to go to the Pure Land. That's all. I drop everything and try to go to the Pure Land. Don't bother repenting. It's not going to help. Meditation, forget it. Recite Buddha's name, forget it. Get some help to go to the Pure Land. It's my raw and blunt advice for her, his girlfriend. Don't believe your boyfriend. Don't go to the heavens. Well, she asked. So, all right. So the Dharma Marks, other marks are insightful. What the wisdoms from the Buddha, okay, and so they put together these superior, these insightful, ingenious teachings, the insights of the Buddhas, in the form of, so you call them Dharma marks. For example, let's be specific, okay? Something to impress you. In this sutra here, this Avatamsaka Sutra, is called, this is the sutra of the king of sutras. This is by far the highest level and the best there is in terms of Buddhist wisdom. All right? And why is it the best? Because it describes the nature, the marks of the entire universe. Something that mankind, doesn't matter how long, until the end of time, men and scientists will never be able to figure out. Never. So you can do it two ways. Either you do like the worldly way, where you send satellites out. What is it? What's the latest telescope? Wayne? Before the Hubble telescope, now it's a Wayne telescope. You guys don't know anything. Why am I talking to you? James Webb. Okay, yeah, thank you. I see someone here knows. I take it back. I shouldn't insult everyone. The James Webb telescope can see so far into the universe, right? It cannot see the end of the universe, right? We'll never be able to see it. Never. Why not? Because the universe is infinite. It described in this sutra. Buddha says this universe is infinite. Don't even bother trying to build a telescope. It will make you have a bigger head thinking you know. You think of everything. So it's like a mayor. The Chinese like to say it's like a mayor of a small village who's seen it all and say, I know everything about life on earth. But they don't realize there's something called Paris by night, where it's the light. Whereas in a village, there's no street lights. It's so dark. And it's wolves howling, woo, and werewolves eating little boy and little girls. Ooh. Okay? Whereas in Paris by night, there is bateau mouche, the small fly boat that you can see go on the sand before the sand river, before it dries up. And have a view of the lights of Paris. And so the mayor of the small city, the small town, the small village said, oh, I've seen life, I've seen it all. Okay? He doesn't know anything about the lights in Paris. And that's the analogy. What the scientists know is like what the small village mayor knows. Whereas the Buddha's wisdom is like huge, infinite. Okay, so that's why we talk about these Dharma marks, so he talks about how the world, this universe is structured. Actually, the universe is very well structured. Okay, it has structure because remember, without structures, you cannot build things. The universe is built. Yes, it's there because it has a structure. It's not haphazard at all. It's not chaos at all. It's structured. So this universe is structured a certain way, organized by worlds. Okay? And so those are the insights called the Dharma Marks. And these Dharma Marks are designed, okay, for this particular sutra to attract the people who are curious, who would like say, hey, it's so fascinating. I need some thinking outside the box thing, okay? So they are drawn to different way of thinking, okay? Different insights that's not available through human thinking. human wisdom. Okay? And not only are they drawn there, but also they are holding 所画 摄取. So you also keep them sustained, holding them, meaning that you draw them because of the curiosity of their needs, and holding them. Well, how can you hold people who are drawn? How do you hold your spouse? Liam, don't look down. How do you keep your husband? You don't know? Are you in trouble? He's going to leave you. If you don't hold your husband, he's going to leave you. If you don't hold your wife, she's going to leave you. You don't hold your girlfriend, she's going to leave you, right? How do you hold them? How? Are you in trouble? Yes, married person. How do you hold your partner?
So, attracting them through the interest and keep them interested. Maintain that interest.
How do you maintain it? Yeah, that's what it says. But how do you maintain? That's what I'm asking. How do you maintain the interest?
Make it always. How do you maintain the interest? Adapt.
This is essential to success in life.
Adapt
you guys
to the,
learn how to make money, how to engineer things, how to program things, but you don't know how to maintain your spouse, maintain your children's interest. I rest my case. The boy says, yeah. Well, how come my parents ignore me? They talk down to me. They're not holding my interest, right? When are they going to take me seriously? They think I'm a kid. Yes, ma'am.
Know what their current, be able to adapt to their current needs. Depends on where they are, what their interests at the moment. You kind of meet them where they are.
You are so manipulative. Horrible woman. Horrible mother. Okay, anyone? How do you hold them? How do you keep them interested? Wei Meng. Oh no, it's going to be Daniel again. He says, pray to God. Oh Lord, oh Father in the heavens.
Master, is it because of their virtue conduct?
Virtue conduct? Okay, anyone else? It's Friday night, folks. I mean, live a little. Virtue, some Friday night. How do you hold them? Yes, sir.
Keep doing new things.
Give him a microphone. I was about to say, never mind.
Keep trying new things.
Did you hear that? I give you a nicer word that I want to impress upon the young boy here. Self-renewal. Don't renew them. Don't renew your HBO Max subscription. Okay? Renew yourself. Don't ask your husband to change. Rejuvenate yourself. Look younger, so that even younger than a younger girl. You know what I mean? And you do Chan, you look younger, right? And so forth. And you renew yourself. The Buddhist practices are actually, if you succeed in doing those things, it's called self-renewal. Because not only are you renewing through other people, but also yourself. Faith in yourself. How you look at yourself. That's how you keep and hold them. Okay? Because they are getting more and more benefits. They are renewing themselves. They're renewing the love for you. You know what I mean? If not, sayonara. Does it make sense? Is it too ruthless? I mean, we don't talk about it. You say, oh, we love for life because we promised when we got married. Is God says so? No. God has nothing to do with it. It's about us renewing ourselves. YouTube question.
From Bante, hello dear Master, I want to clarify my previous question. I'm prepared to enter into retreat at another monastery. I won't be involved in running it. In that case, can you recommend any preparation that I can do to prepare myself for this retreat?
And that's the main thing, is that you can be meditating. I apologize if I misunderstand you, but it's the same thing. Instead of looking at leading it yourself, then you should look at the person who leads a retreat. Can they do it? Otherwise, your time will not be very well spent. Okay, and this is, I'm very blunt, and please forgive me for being so blunt, because I don't have a whole lot of time to waste, or waste your time in particular. Never my desire to waste your time. But when you go and meditate, you must have a goal, and therefore you ask yourself, if I go to school, okay, I go for a seminar, a training. It's for a purpose. For most of us professionals, you go to seminar because it helps us renew ourselves, and maybe doctors and lawyers and so forth, they help meet their continuing education programs and requirements and so forth, so that we don't become obsolete too soon and so forth. Same thing. You go to meditation, you have these goals, and you ask yourself, can they help me achieve these goals? Number one. Number two, they have a track record of helping people, different, diverse backgrounds get there or not, and so forth. So instead of looking at leading the retreat, then you apply the same standards to the people that you go to who are organizing the retreat. Because the bottom line is that you need help. That's why you go into a meditation retreat. Okay? There are a lot of help. They're necessary. They're a lot better. You are a lot better off going to these places if you get the proper help. For example, in our world, the Venerable Xu Yun, the patriarch, the last Chinese patriarch in Mahayana, which is the predecessor of our Chinese teacher, Master YongHua, he went to a meditation retreat. That's how he became enlightened. So those are designed, these are Dharma, these practices are designed to help all of us, okay? And he went there and he got help, okay? Because that place has a track record of helping a lot of people and producing competent teachers as well. And so you should look at that thing, because I have a problem. I looked at many young monks and nuns who put themselves to these various intensive meditation programs and for a long time, and I feel that they're not getting the results that they should be getting, because they are not taught these very simple, basic things. You go to meditation retreat, it's to become enlightened, to develop skills, okay? Then you should ask. If they cannot give you the answers, then you should go and find out for yourself. If it's not, you're not getting the help, you're not getting the better, you're not developing skills, and so forth, then your time will not be well spent at all. I have a hard time with that. I struggled with my master's temple for 4 years. as a novice, as a trainee. And to me, those 4 years of my life were wasted. I'm very upset about it. And I felt that whatever I gathered from those 4 years, if they were serious about training me, should only take about 6 months, maybe a year max. I go 6 months, okay? I would not want to waste people's lives, 4 years of your life, okay? And this is a problem I have with the system. We are told to go meditate, we were told to go this and do that, and especially in the Asian Buddhism right now, they are fuzzy about the goals and the standards. That will not fly in America, Bhante. You don't do that, you don't learn those things, you will have a hard time drawing the next generation of Buddhists. So what happens is if you don't develop the skills and those insights, the older Buddhists who are coming to the temple right now to support you and your teachers, they will die, and no one will replace them. The young generation says, I'd rather do TikTok, I'd rather watch House of Dragons instead of going meditate, because I get more, I'm better off doing those things, because meditation to me is a waste of time. What are you going to do? So that's why it's very important for you to break through this, because otherwise your Buddhism will die, because the young people will lose interest because it's not good use of their time. All right, so that's what I would do. I would take a critical look, because I'm that critical nowadays. I would not waste 4 years of my life anymore. Okay? No way. I have better things to do with my life than waste it. Okay? Or if I were doing these things, I would not want to waste your time at all. I want to be upfront about it. Okay? All right. I have 2 more minutes. What happened to my watch? Excuse me. Oh, 2 more minutes. Yes. Any questions? Okay. So I hope it helps. You know, in these modern times, we have to be upfront with the next generation. They are more demanding. They're more factual. And we can no longer depend on these old women and old men who said, yes, master, and I'm sorry, master, okay? And they put us on the pedestal. I feel in modern times, our weaknesses for monks and nuns is that we are not trained to earn their respect. In prior generations, in Asia in particular, when you wear these monks' garbs, you are given respect by default because of the Asian cultures. It's so ingrained in Asian cultures, built in. Whereas in the West, it's not the case. And therefore, in these modern times, we need to earn our support. We need to earn their respect by producing results, by helping them renew themselves. Okay? I'm very encouraged that still a lot of monks and nuns are going through the intensive trainings, but the problem with that is that there are a lot of interest, a lot of aspirations, but they're not given the proper guidance. Their teacher didn't tell them that you do all this, what is your purpose? Okay? And how far along can you go? How close are you to that goal? And no matter what, we need to develop, the monks and nuns need to develop skills to help the followers. And that's the way it is nowadays. Okay? I noticed that in most temples, the old people are, you have a bunch of, in these Dharma assemblies, big events, you see a lot of old people in wheelchairs, with canes, and with gray hair, and so forth, can barely walk, and so forth. That's great. But I don't see young people anymore. And that's a real concern. It's because we are not guiding them. I went to Korea and I met a bunch of young people, and they have these simple questions about how to meditate, how to recite the Buddha's name, how to deal with their co-workers, friends and colleagues. Okay? And unless we help them resolve these issues, they're not going. They won't find us useful anymore. You won't believe in us anymore. We become a burden to society. We become parasites of society. We have no place to stand. Everyone must contribute. Traditionally, in Asian culture, the monks and nuns deserve respect because they have the skills. That's why those in the old times, the monks and nuns who have the wisdom, have the skills, they train their students properly and pass on that knowledge to the next generation. Okay? But nowadays, the new monks and nuns are not, I feel that there's a huge gap in the aspirations and the actual directions for these nuns and monks. And that's why if you don't tell them, spell it out for them, you will not be able to draw the good monks and nuns. Okay? And everyone must contribute, whether you're a monk or a nun, to society. You need to do something useful for society. And that's not be parasites at all. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We stop here tonight. And for example, one of the Buddhist things traditionally is they used to go to temples in order to get help for their loved ones and friends who are deceased, go for rebirth. And so, for example, after this, we do this transfer all these good things, the merits and virtue. We spend the last hour and a half to do so, because that creates a lot of blessings to help those people over there go to the Pure Land. That's what we do. And so it's a very good Buddhist tradition, but also for that tradition to be sustained, it better produce results, meaning that when we do that, those people actually have a strong chance of going to the Pure Land instead of just, I hope they go to the Pure Land. Seriously? Okay? So it requires real skills. So be clear about where you're going, why we're doing these things. Not just blind faith and hope it works. Pray to God that it works. Oh my God, I would never do that. Just kidding. Okay, thank you everyone. Next time we start from 99.